5 tips to survive the February slump. Practical and simple ideas that you can start implementing in your homeschool today. They may just breathe some new life into your homeschool for these next few dreary weeks. So it is February and I can already feel it, the homeschool slump. It hits me almost every year and it usually hits pretty hard. Somewhere right after Valentine's Day, after I've eaten way too many chocolate hearts, homeschool gets hard. I don't know why, but just all of a sudden, our everyday homeschool feels very difficult. The January newness has worn off, my New Year's goals have flown out the window, and here in Ohio, the weather is typically pretty gloomy, gray, and ugly. It is too cold and too wet and too gross to go outside regularly, and so me and the kids, we are cooped up, and we all start to just get on each other's nerves. For some reason, our curriculum just starts to feel boring. It takes the kids longer and longer and longer every day to just finish a simple math worksheet. And so suddenly, by the end of February, I am questioning all of my life's choices. I feel very tempted to just turn on a movie for the kids and lose myself in my phone researching new and beautiful and pretty curriculum for next year. Can you relate? I really hope I am in good company. In case you're new around here, hi, my name is Sarah. I am the homeschooling mama to 5 kiddos, and we have been homeschooling since the very beginning. I've been doing this for over 10 years, probably closer to 12 years at this point. So today I'm going to share with you 5 tips to survive the February slump. These are going to be 5 practical and simple ideas that you can start implementing in your homeschool today. They are not going to take a lot of time, they are not going to bust your budget, but they may just breathe some new life into your homeschool for these next few dreary weeks. Tip number 1, set things out the night before. For me, if I have our lesson plans and our books ready to go the night before, I am much more likely to put my feet on the floor in the morning and jump into our homeschool day. This can be super simple. Sometimes this just means setting our morning basket out on our kitchen table and prepping the coffee pot the night before. It could look like putting out math worksheets and gathering all of your science project supplies and putting them all in one place. Any small task that you can do the night before that can get your homeschool day off with a bang, it's worth it. So this is a goal that I have for myself for the rest of the semester, is to just prep and plan something the night before. Number 2 is to challenge yourself and your kids. What I mean by this is to set up some kind of challenge in your homeschool for just a couple of weeks. It could be 2, 3 weeks, maybe even a month. So for instance, do a reading challenge. Take a bookshelf in your home full of picture books that you already own and challenge yourself to read one new picture book to the kids every single day for 2 weeks straight. Or another idea, I'm kind of thinking back to Pizza Hut vibes, book it. Challenge your kids to read for a set amount of time every day, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Have them use a sticker chart, whatever. And if they do that for 14 days straight, order pizza. Have pizza delivered for lunch on a Friday in your homeschool. They will love it. Another idea would be to do a game school challenge. Every day for 2 weeks, ditch one of your subjects. Ditch math on Monday, science on Tuesday, history on Wednesday. And during that time frame, play a game with your kids. Play a simple board game or a card game. It doesn't have to be educational, but just ditch a subject for the fun of it and play a game building relationship and some fun with your kids. Another challenge could be a jigsaw puzzle. This is something my daughters, they love putting together large, intricate puzzles. But get out a 500 or a 1,000 piece puzzle and challenge your kids to put the puzzle together. Spend 15 or 20 minutes every day allowing them to do the puzzle while you read aloud to them, or turn on an audiobook and you help them and do the puzzle with them too. But this would be a fun challenge that would definitely take you a couple of weeks. Another challenge could be to memorize something together as a family, or even each of your kids individually. They could memorize scripture, poetry, geography, map work, math facts, whatever you want, but make a contest out of it. See who can memorize something first and they get a reward. Honestly, the type of challenge you do is really going to be whatever fits best for your homeschool, for your family, for your kids and their age. But come up with some kind of challenge to do together for just a couple of weeks. I'm sure if you hop on social media, there's all kinds of challenges different homeschool mamas host and do, but just find something to liven up your homeschool just for a few weeks. Tip number 3, consider doing a unit study. This is probably my favorite thing to do in our homeschool whenever we hit a rough patch. Now, there's a lot of options out there for unit studies. You can go big or you can go small. So if you've been around my channel for a while, you guys know that I love Gather Round Homeschool. It was something that we used as the core of our curriculum for a couple of years. So that's an option. You could stop doing your regular curriculum and do a Gather Round unit study for 4 weeks in your homeschool, just to mix things up, liven things up, and do something different. You could do something smaller or more simple than that. Right now, my little ones and I, we've been working through Before 5 in a Row. It is a literature-based unit study curriculum. And so what we do is we have a picture book that we will read for 5 days in a row, and every day we will do some type of activity or craft or snack to go along with that picture book. So you could go big and totally change up your curriculum for a month, or you could go small and just add on a unit study just to add a little flavor and life to your morning basket or just to your time with your kids. Something else I would encourage you is that this is a really great time in your homeschool year to get around to studying something that's been on your to-do list that you just haven't been able to do. If you have always wanted to tackle nature study, do that. Take a couple of weeks off from school and just do nature study with your kids. Or if you've always wanted to do a composer study or an artist study, take the time during the February slump to add that in to your homeschool and take a few things that are getting on your nerves out of it. Just do a small unit of study of something you're really interested in or your kids are interested in. Number 4 is to count down to spring. Now, I don't know where you live or what your location is. Here in the Midwest, spring does not hit until late March, so we have quite a ways to go. But you could count down to your spring break time. You could count down to Easter, or you could count down to when the weather is going to be nicer in your area. Whatever you want. And you could do this very simply. You could make a paper chain, like what you do at Christmas, where you do different paper links put together. Or maybe you want to use a large canning jar and fill it with different slips of paper. On every chain or on every slip of paper, you could write down a different activity that your kids could do that day as they are counting down to get through this February slump. So for instance, one piece of paper could say that day your kids are going to build a fort in the living room with blankets and pillows. My little ones are really into Bluey, so we've been building lots of cubbies lately. Maybe a slip of paper could be a science kit. Maybe you're going to build a volcano with your kids that day. I don't know. Maybe you could get around to doing one of those subscription boxes that you haven't opened yet. Another idea for an activity would be to do a movie or a documentary with your kids. My kids love that when I just suddenly am like, hey, we're gonna watch a movie today instead of doing history. You could also do an art project. You could set up easels and paint and canvases for your kids, or watercolors or clay and Play-Doh, whatever you want, some type of fun art project. And if you want to, you could even add outside activities on this, right? You could go on field trips. Have a library day, have a museum day, we're gonna go out to fast food for lunch today. Be creative for whatever fits you and your family and your budget. Again, I think back to December and how much fun it is to school in December when we're counting down to Christmas and we're having all of these fun extra things built into our homeschool. I'm just trying to breathe a little bit of that into our February, into our March, as we are getting through this rough spot in our homeschool and counting down the days till spring. All right, and then lastly, tip number 5, nourish yourself, mama. And I mean many things by this, but first of all, let's hit the basics. Be sure that you are getting enough rest, eating good food, drinking enough water, getting enough sunlight and vitamin D, going outside and maybe taking a walk and getting a little bit of exercise. Make sure you are taking care of yourself so that you can better take care of your kids and your homeschool. So I don't know if you've seen the reel that's been popular lately where it has somebody kind of going back and forth and they're saying, oh, I've just been feeling down in the dumps lately. I just don't feel well and I don't know why. And then the other person says, well, have you eaten any vegetables today? No. Have you drank any water? No. Have you cut down your caffeine? No. Have you gone outside today? No. And by the end of the reel, they're like, well, I can't imagine why you're not feeling well. So I say all of this to just say, be sure that you are taking care of yourself. I know for me, I have to really check my own heart and make sure that I am spending time in scripture and in prayer every day. That is the first place I start with nourishing myself. Now, on top of that, the other thing I do when the February slump hits is I start to go back to my own bookshelf, books that I already own, and I look for homeschool encouragement from authors, from other homeschool mamas who have written amazing books that can, again, just help you to gain some perspective and breathe some new life into your homeschool. So today I'm going to share just a couple of my favorites and the one I'm reading right now. So first up, I have A Waking Wonder by Sally Clarkson. Oh my gosh, I just love the cover of this book. I don't tend to keep book jackets around, so this is just it without its book jacket. But this is probably my favorite homeschooling book of all time. Again, no surprise here, but Sarah Mackenzie, Teaching from Rest. If you've not read this book, read it. If you have already read it, revisit it. I love highlighting books like this, and then when I get to a tough spot in our homeschool, just going back through and reading my own highlights. That's really helpful if I don't have time to read an entire book. Speaking of Sarah Mackenzie, two books that I love that really help encourage me to read aloud more to my kids. First of all, The Read Aloud Family. This is wonderful for homeschoolers or just any family in general. It also has great lists in here of read aloud options broken down by age groups. So if you're looking for a new read aloud to maybe do something new in your homeschool this February, this is a great read. And then another book related to this is The Enchanted Hour. This is by Megan Cox-Gurdon. Again, I love this book. She was actually a guest on Sarah Mackenzie's podcast years ago, and that's how I heard about this. And this book is really good as well if you just need an extra dose of encouragement to read aloud to your kids. And then the book that I am currently revisiting this season, just to, again, encourage my own heart, is For the Children's Sake. This was one of the very first homeschooling books that I ever read about 15 years ago when I was first, trying to figure out what this whole world was like. And so I'm excited to go back through this book. Again, going back through, reading my highlighted sections, and even just noticing how different my own heart is after all these years. The things that maybe hit a little differently the second or third time around reading this book. So, nourish yourself by taking care of your physical body and then also just reading some good and encouraging things. I know for my own self, it can be easy to get lost in YouTube or in social media and watching videos and spending too much time on screens. And sometimes it is just really good to just sit down with a cup of coffee and a book, even if it's a book I've already read multiple times, and just nourish my own mind and my own soul. All right, guys, well, that's it. Those are my 5 tips for helping you to survive the February slump. If you have any other ideas or things that have worked in your homeschool, please, by all means, leave a comment down below. I would love to hear any other suggestions you have for getting through rough patches in your homeschool. As always, if you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and stick around. I have so much fun content planned for this year. See you later.